Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Alright, hi friends, welcome to my June TBR. Yes, we're going to be entering the 6th month of 2024 already. Please make it stop. No, I'm just kidding. But also, why is it going so fast? What the hell? Well, today I have, as usual, a nice long list of some new releases that are coming in June that I'm excited for. Thankfully, I'm not signed up for as many arcs for some of these. There are some that I'm just excited for. I think based on my chart that I have, actually I think like 13 that are arcs, and the others are just ones that I really want to read them. I haven't been approved for an arc, and I'm really happy I was able to pull that back because I did have the North Iowa Book Bash this month and the month of May, and so I have some books from there that I want to get to, as well as some that I've purchased in the past months and wanted to get to, but the stack has just been so high that I haven't been able to do that. I'm also hoping to do another round of annotated books, offering a few that I'm really excited to do for everybody, and that means I need like time to do those is the thing. So yeah, well, let's go ahead and get into it. We'll start, of course, with those upcoming releases. This time I did put them all on my tablet, so let's go ahead and get started with these. We'll start with the upcoming releases, then we'll go over a couple that I'm reading for Patreon, and then we'll get into those optional TBR. I'm going to be really like firm that they're optional, but they're just ones I'm thinking about, and maybe you guys can tell me if I should read them or not, type of thing, right? So, starting with Broken Beginnings by Cleo Evans. So, this I believe is going to be the first contemporary small town for Cleo Evans. I don't know. I know she writes like there's some paranormal fantasy, there's some reverse harem. I believe this is the first foray into that. I could be wrong, so correct me if I am. I've only seen her book show up in those places. But this one says it's a high heat, small town romantic suspense. And then it seems like the heroine, it's in Citrus Grove is where it's going to be. I just love this cover. I mean, of course, it's a very like wintry vibe, and it's going to be the height of summer, but sometimes, I've shared this, sometimes I like reading cozy romances in summer because there's just something about it. I don't know. So there's danger running through the hometown, and yeah, he has a sexy southern charm and calls her sunshine, and she just can't resist him. So this one's coming June 4th, and I have been approved for an arc of this one, so you'll be getting a review of that from me. Next up, there is Leather and Lark, which also comes out June 4th. Now, I pre-ordered this one in one of the Barnes & Noble like pre-order sales. If you don't know, usually a couple times a year they have any pre-orders you do are 25% off, which is great. That usually means they are matching Amazon prices or even less than that. And since I also have a Barnes & Noble membership, jeez, I can't talk today, it means that I get another 10%, so pre-ordering these was a good idea. Okay, next up, I have a new to me author I want to read, and I didn't realize this was kind of book 3 in a series because the author doesn't have them listed as a series. So I signed up for The Bones of Love by Megan Montgomery because I saw the tropes for this and like what it was about. And this one is about a forensic anthropologist, Dr. Decca Crowley, and she travels all over the state of Tennessee to study skeletal remains, responding to mass casualties events with her team, and sitting in bedside vigils as a death doula in her time off. She runs herself ragged in an attempt to avoid living her own life. Putting in more hours means not thinking about her love life or lack of one. Until now, it's been easy. Her good friend Gus Smythe has just graduated from a Greek Orthodox seminary, and in order to be ordained a priest, he must marry or else serve his entire priesthood alone and celibate as a monk. For him, that's a fate distinctly worse than death. The ever-pragmatic, selfless Decca has a solution purely out of the goodness of her heart. She proposes a marriage of convenience. He needs a wife. She could definitely use someone to talk to, other than the 200-year-old skeleton she's piecing together in her dining room, but she didn't really think he'd say yes. When the bride and groom catch feelings for each other, that could be the end of their cozy situation, but if they find the right framework, the bones of love, it could be the key to their happiness. Now, part of the reason I picked this as one of the tropes that was listed was that this was like kind of like a witch and a priest. And I don't know how she's being seen as a witch now that I read this, but I'm sure I'll understand once I read it. But I just thought it sounded interesting, and I never heard of this author. And you guys know this year I'm trying to purposely seek out more new to me authors. And the author agency, being one of the PR companies I use, has been really great at getting new authors. So I spent a long time talking about that one. Next, there will be Forgotten Desires by Corinne Michaels. This is the 4th one in the Whitlock family. I signed up for an ARC, but I don't know that I've been chosen for this because like I didn't get picked for the cover release. So I don't know that I'll be getting an ARC, but whether I get the ARC or I don't, I will be reading this forthwith when it comes out. So this is the billionaire brother in the Whitlock family and an ex-wife situation. So I believe this is a second chance. But he wasn't her, it wasn't an ex where she was married to him. He needs a temporary wife and he's a billionaire single dad. And so they do a fake marriage. So lots of my wife happening in it. We're not surprised. I mean, we know what the tropes are that show up in small town romance, and this is one of them. So I'll be reading that no matter what. Thankfully, this one's not a farmer, so I won't have to worry about the dairy farming experience being ruined for me. All right, there also will be I.O. by S.M. La Violette, aka Minerva Spencer. This is going to be the next book in the, I can't remember the series name, but Balthazar the Spare was the first one. And this one is his twin sister, I.O. They grew up in a commune. This is a historical romance. And now they found out that they have a Duke older brother and they've been brought to England and they're getting introduced to society there. And they definitely don't fit in to society. All right, then I do have an ARC for Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood. This one comes out on the 11th. All right, then there's A Little Sunshine. Now, this is one that I only just found out about when I was looking into stuff for the Mafia Readathon, because I really liked another book by this author, and it was also one of the books that was put on our host's favorites for Little Dove. And so this one is an age gap romance about finding acceptance, mutual obsession, and a behemoth with a giant heart. So there's Mila, who is a little ray of pessimistic sunshine. Okay, interesting. And it's going to have a little bit of daddy kink in this one too. It's funny. Mila wasn't born with a silver spoon. It was a plastic spork that she hustled and fought over. So yeah, there's going to be a little bit of daddy kink. He is second in command in for his boss, which I assume, well, it says, I don't know if this one is a mafia one, actually. It might be, well, it might be a resort in Vegas. So he's second in command at a resort, but it might be run by it. So that sounds a little bit like Aldo in the Men of the Fall series. Is like, you're second in command of a like hotel type thing, but the mafia is kind of involved. So I'll be reading that one. Then there will be Worth the Risk by Bia Borges. So I don't have much info about this one at all. This is one that I'm getting through I don't know if this one is from the author agency. It might not be, but it's from one of the small ones as well. And this is going to be a debut author. So I don't know anything about this one. I don't even see the blurb up anymore. But this one is supposed to be a small town romance, I think. I don't have the tropes in front of me on the page. It's not there, which is a bummer. But this one's coming out June 11th. And I'll be trying out this author. Then there will be God of War on the 13th. We all know I'll be dropping everything to read this one when it comes out. I don't care, come hell or high water, it's happening. I will be having the paperback and the audiobook and probably the ebook, and I will spend all day enjoying myself while reading that. I'm so excited. I'm very sad I didn't get picked for an ARC, but I know that the people who did are very happy, and it's exciting. And either way, I was going to read this the day that it came out, so yes, would I have loved to get an early copy of it? Yes. But I'll just get to experience it with all of you guys, which will be great. We cannot wait for it. All right, then there will be Full Throttle by Melanie Moreland. This will be the 5th, and it is apparently now the final book in this series. So I was told there was going to be 6 of these. And the reason why is that when I went to Book Bonanza last year, I went to her table and I got some goodies. And one of them was a sticker that had all of the like characters that were gonna have HA in it, and there was 6 names. So I wonder if she decided not to do the last one just because of interest in the series or whatever. But either way, this one is going to be a later in life romance. I believe it's the mother of the heroine from book 3, and then like an older gentleman too. So this is gonna be a later in life romance. But I also think she might be older. I could be wrong. They both might be older, but either way, I'll be reading this. I'll be getting an ARC of this one. All right. Then we have another new to me author that I will be trying. And this author, it shows, does have a few books, but I haven't read any of them. So I saw this cover get shared and I immediately signed up for an ARC of this book. Okay, look at this cover. This was so pretty. I thought this might be AI generated. So I was like, okay, I have to make sure first. And then I dived into it. But this was actually done by this artist who makes these like old style Western posters. And that is who did this cover. And so this is called Bourbon and Lies. And just look at this cover. It's gorgeous. And this is what this one says. In Fiasco, Kentucky, there's one rule: never fall for a fox brother. Any woman who did ended up dead, or so the rumor goes. Townies call it a curse, but I've lived it and I won't survive it again. I'm not a cop anymore, but I've seen enough danger to know that Lainey Young, the beautiful stranger who just showed up in a small town, is running from it. She's lying about where she came from and what she's doing here. I don't want her near my family or the quiet life I've made for myself, but my brothers and have other plans. Now she's everywhere, working at my distillery, living in our guest house, calling me cowboy, and skinny dipping in my horse trough. But it's the way she dishes out attitude with that pretty mouth of hers that has me wanting things I've sworn to myself I never want again. I should push her away, never forget, but forget how her lips taste and ignore how she makes me want more out of life. When her past shows up and mingles too closely with mine, her lies begin to unravel. The rules don't matter anymore. I mess up, dig too far, and get too close. Only 2 things have the power to keep her safe now: Bourbon and Lies. So I like this one because it's like, sounds like woman on the run, ex-police officer. I'm here for it. So this is one I signed up for. Okay, then there is Honeycut by Sierra Simone. We will be continuing this trilogy. This is working towards being an MMF. We've seen the MM and we've seen the MF, and now it's time to get busy with it, okay? I'm excited for this. I signed up for an ARC of this one. I should be getting it. Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. This will be the next book in this the Lakefront Billionaire series. I don't know if I'll be getting an ARC of this one. I talked to Madison and she said this one is pretty locked down tight. But I did get an ARC of the first one and I reviewed it and all that jazz, so I don't know if I'll get this one. But either way, I will probably read this one. If it's out before, like, I'll probably get the audiobook then, which could make it easier, so we'll do that. All right, then there will be Midnight Whispers by P. Rain. This will be the 3rd book in the Midnight Manor series. Then there will be Twisted Deeds by Mila Kane. I did sign up for an ARC of this one as well. This one will be book 3 in the Hellions of Hade Harbor, which I have been liking. So this one, they call her Ice Queen, Winter Delory, cold by name and by nature. She's always been a spoiled brat, daddy's little princess, while I'm the guy from the wrong side of the tracks. She's always made it clear that I'm beneath her. It was hate from first sight. But when she needs help, she can't turn to anyone from her cushy cashmere life. She needs a man who isn't afraid to get his hands dirty. She comes to me, I'll help for a price. I've started to think that while I might hate the Ice Queen, I wouldn't mind dirtying up her innocent princess persona. Even royals can fall, and I plan to ruin this one completely. Meet the ice gods, the hockey players that never play by the rules. So this will be book 3, another dark hockey romance. I'm here for it. Okay, then there will be Forbidden King by Laura Pavlov. I did sign up for, I believe, the ARC and audiobook of this one after reading Wild River this month, so we'll see if I get that. And then there will be Ole Utle, I don't know how to say this, Utle, we'll see, by S.J. Tilley. I will be getting an audio ARC of this one, so yeah, I'll dive into that when the opportunity arises. So those are all of the upcoming books that I hope to get. Spent enough time talking about that. Now let's get into some other ones that I'm going to be reading. So there are a few for Patreon. I, of course, will have a few of, I'll have a few Reena Kents to get to. I will be doing The Secret by, Julie Garwood. I'll be rereading that. I'll also be rereading Not a Hero by Cherise Sinclair and Dear Grumpy Boss by Julia Wolf. Very excited to annotate these two. That'll be fun. And then I actually don't know what the book's choice is this month. I'm filming this a bit earlier, or else I got that poll out a little later, but you guys will see that on my socials when the Patreon book of the month has been picked. So then, if all goes well, I will finally be doing my reread of North and South with Crystal. We wanted to buddy read this back in January, but her life was crazy, my life was crazy, and yeah, this would have been a fun one to read in the winter, but I also don't want to wait. I got this beautiful copy as a gift from my friend Becky, and I mean, I also have like 5 versions of this, but this one is good. It has big margins, and I want to annotate this if I can. If I can't, I will just listen to the audiobook of this. I've done that before, but I do want to read this and annotate it and talk about it with Crystal, so we'll see if I have time to do that. Then I do have a book from an author who sent me a lovely hardcover copy of her book, actually, and it is a steamy paranormal dark romance. I know it has some trigger warnings for sure in this one, but I want to see if I can get to it soon. I do also have an e-arc of this one. Like, just listening to some of these kinks in here. It has pet play, CNC, dubcon, kidnapping, anal play, plugging, gagging, humiliation, degradation, praise, vampires, grooming, gore, self-defense, and sex scenes involving other characters. So this is going to be a spicy BDSM paranormal, and it's an MF dark fantasy. So this one has a cliffhanger, but there will be, like, the second one is available now. So it says, get on your knees, pet. It's time to play. Anyway, I should show it to you. It's called Plug and Claim. This is a really cool cover. I'm excited to give this a go. I'm a little bit nervous at the same time, but I also think I love spicy things. It's sometimes when, for me, obviously I love BDSM. You know, I've made many a video about it, but it's something for me too. Like, I of course want to know trigger warnings, but sometimes when I know all the content that will be in a BDSM book, it overwhelms me what will be included, because the way that it's actually played out isn't as intimidating as it sounds, right? I used the example of when I read the Daisy Jane that came out that had fisting in it, okay? That terrifies me. That scares the shit out of me to hear that. In the actuality of how it happened and when it happened in the book, it was super sexy and it felt right for those characters in the moment. But when you see it on the page, you're like, oh, I don't want to read that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just saying. All right. Speaking of Daisy Jane, oh, that was funny. I bought a couple books from her recent sale she had on her Etsy, and this is part of her Taboo Duet that is sold, like, you can't buy the paperbacks anymore. I don't even think the ebooks are available. So she has a couple other ones that are going out of stock as well from her Etsy shop, and I want to try to get them before they do. But this one is Unexpected, and this one is a, who is this? So let me see. what does this one say? I forgot. It's a taboo duet. Is it a stepdad romance or not? Oh, here we go. Yeah, this does have DDLG, but with no age play. So yeah, it's a taboo romance. And this one's called Unexpected, and I do have both of them. So I think this one has a cliffhanger, maybe it won't, but I have both of them anyway. I love Daddy Kink. All right, then one that I already had, and I really want to get to this one, is Twisted Obsession by S. Massery. I've read the first 3 books in this series. I want to read this one. This one has the amnesia trope, and the audiobooks are out for the books in this series. And this one is an older woman, and they had kind of a spicy thing going on, and then she lost her memory, doesn't know who she is anymore. So I want to get to this one when I can. All right, and then I have 3 books that are from the North Iowa Book Bash. So I have When Morning Comes by A.M. Wilson. This is one that I actually had my friend Shauna pre-read for me. I had her check out a couple of the authors because I didn't have time. Like, North Iowa Book Bash came up so fast. But this one is a accidental pregnancy from between friends. So the hero is a widower, apparently, and they have a like comforting thing where like she's being there comforting him, and they end up getting drunk and having a one-night stand, and then she gets pregnant. And so it's like, uh-oh, he is my best friend, but am I always going to be second best to like his lost wife and like all of those things? But she really, really loved it, so I want to give it a try. And I did buy a copy when I was there because it just seemed like something that would be up my alley for sure. I have Irresistible by Willow Astor. Look at this gorgeous couple one. Now, I'm pretty positive this is like book 3 or 4 in the series. I can't remember now. But what I did, this was one that I pre-ordered. Yeah, this one's book 3. This is one that I pre-ordered. Now, you know me, I usually do like to start at the beginning of the series, but I was trying to be judicious with the books that I pre-ordered and that I purchased at this. You know, I couldn't spend a ton of money. And she was an author I've really been wanting to try. So I read the descriptions of every single book that she had, all the ones that were available, and I picked 2. And they ended up being books 3 and 4 in this series. So I picked them based on tropes and what they were about. And so if I end up liking these, you know, and since this is a book 3, I'm sure I'll hear about the other couples as well. And I'll maybe get the other ones. But I'm going to start with Irresistible. Look at this cover. It's so pretty. The spines actually line up to make a picture too, which is kind of cool. So this one is a single mom and a doctor, I believe. So, and he's related to her best friend's boyfriend. So I just love that. I love the idea of it. And that's the one I picked from that. And then I did a blind date with a book pick. You could get one for a discount price for some of their like scratch and dent ones for R.L. Kenderson, which is actually a writing duo. And I had bought some books of theirs last year too, because they also had some scratch and dent. And this one actually ended up being one that I had bought last year too, because I like the tropes. And when they had the blind date with a book, they had the tropes written out. And I was like, oh, those tropes look good. And so I bought the same book twice. So I guess that means I'm going to read it. I did have another version of this one. I have the hardcover special edition that has a slight things, but this one just has like, it has a little bit of dirt here, and like on the bottom, but that's about it. So this one is a teacher and a football player. So I guess we're reading some older women this month. So yeah, this one is a reverse age gap, and she thought he was the assistant football coach, not that he was one of the students. So this is Wicked Chemistry. It's forbidden romance, and I want to give this one a try and finally start this author who I have bought their books twice. So all right, that is everything that I will be reading or hoping to read in the month of June. Make sure you're subscribed to my Patreon. You can follow it whether you join or not. If you want updates, I send behind the scenes things there. My announcements always go to my Patreon first. Thank you. If you are one of my patrons or channel members, thank you for supporting me here. It means so much. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.